All right, so new segment here for the show, the YouTube only segment. We're going to do one segment each week just for YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube page to make sure you get this every single week. And we're going to take your questions that come in via social media for this particular segment. So, Sergio, we're going to start with Chris Rowe, who asked the question, do you see a Jermall Charlo versus Caleb Plant fight happening in early 2026?
I do, Chris, because there's a slap heard around the world in that fight, and we would want to see if that slap can turn into a punch. I would highly favor Caleb Plant in that fight, but when there's bitterness, there's a little bit of marketing there that you could sell. Yeah, people are going to pay for it, not only in the PBC atmosphere, but all over, man. I'm interested in that fight. Bring it on, Caleb Plant.
I'm interested in that fight for all the reasons you said. I don't think it's next on the hit list of Caleb Plant. I actually think we're much more likely to get Caleb Plant, Edgar Berlanga in the first half of 2026. Berlanga, his manager, has told me they're trying to get a fight for him in December. It's probably going to be someone that's very bad, very, very bad. And Plant, I think a lot of people were wondering if he was going to take that rematch against Resendez. What I've been hearing is that he's not. So maybe you see Plant take a lesser fight as well, which would then set up a huge fight between those two guys. They're both, the bad blood between them is very real. I think we're more likely to get Plant-Berlanga than we are Plant-Charlo in the first half of 2026. Ryan asks, with Canelo losing to Crawford, who's the most likely to take up the mantle as the new face of boxing? It's an interesting question because you can say Terrence Crawford is right now, and that probably is true, but the face of boxing, if you look at the next guy, you got to be looking at some of the guys that are in their 20s. Who do you think that guy is?
David Benavidez. I think he's, 28 years old. No wear and tear. Exciting fighter. The Mexican monster. I think he can be the next guy that can be on top for a long time because he has the perfect blend of speed and power. That's so rare, and especially coming from that 6'2" height, and he has long arms. He really is a monster, man. I don't see anyone beating him. I don't see anyone outboxing him or outfighting him. So Benavidez is the future.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice. I would probably also look at Shakur Stevenson, already a 3-division world champion, and that performance that Shakur had against William Zepeda was a defining performance. Like, that was the best win, the most entertaining win, the best fight he's had up until this point. And now he's in talks to fight Teofimo Lopez maybe in Saudi Arabia, maybe in New York, sometime in early 2026. If he can beat Lopez, all of a sudden he's a 4-division world champion with wins over Zepeda, with Lopez, other big fights are potentially out there. Benavidez is a good choice. I also like Shakur Stevenson. Next question. What fight do you want to see Lewis Crocker in next? Lewis Crocker, as you saw last week, he goes and beats Patty Donovan, surprises everybody to beat Patty Donovan by decision. He now has the IBF 147-pound title around his waist. After the fight, Eddie Hearn listed off every name between 140 and 147 for Lewis Crocker. Who do you want to see Crocker in with next?
Lewis Crocker at 147. He won't move up in weight.
No, not when you get a belt.
Well, 147. Who are some top contenders at 147?
I can give you mine first. I would say I would like to see Crocker in with the winner of Devin Haney and Brian Norman. Devin Haney and Brian Norman are going to fight in November.
Crocker doesn't win neither one of those.
Well, I mean, look, Crocker's a good fighter. Crocker's a very good fighter and shows he has some depth to his game by making the adjustments that he did in the rematch against Patty Donovan. You and me both thought Donovan was going to win that fight. Crocker went out, dropped him twice on his way to winning a decision. Haney, the winner of Haney and Norman, is going to have a title at 147. Crocker's got a title at 147. A fight against Crocker sells big over in Belfast. So Haney, Norman, who are both fighting in Saudi Arabia, I would love to see them, make a pit stop on the way back for a press conference for a Lewis Crocker fight.
Hey, listen, he won't win, but he'll get a big payday, and it'll be a large crowd in that UK atmosphere. So yeah, man, I really like that fight because most of these fighters that pick up championships, they cash out on those championships, and I think Eddie Hearn and Matchroom knows that. They're just in there with too many monsters in that division, but there'll be a great payday for him.
Yeah, great payday. Those are good matchups. Like Conor Benn is probably the ideal domestic matchup, but Conor's got business against Chris Eubank Jr., and I think Conor is probably going to need one fight in between down at 147 before he challenges for a title in that weight class. Roa asks, Cool Brown Bato, meaning you, who is the next Mexican boxing icon?
You just said Bato.
That's what it said here.
It's Vato
It
with a
says
V.
it's a B in the thing.
Well, that guy he loses his brown card too. Vato, eh? Serio. Who is the next star?
Mexican boxing icon. Could be Sugar Nunez. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago, but is there anybody out there on the landscape that you think could become a Canelo-like boxing icon?
No, I don't see him right now. I don't see any fighters with Mexican bloodline, with the Mexican pedigree to have that kind of superstar status. Now, Sugar Nunez can be a ticket seller. I think he can be. You can put him up against a good A-side opponent to be very popular, but to be an icon like that and to carry the mantle like Chavez and Canelo and Salvador Sanchez and the long list of great names, I don't see it in the horizon.
Yeah, I think Nunez has the potential. If he gets a fight against Navarrete and wins that fight, then maybe it could be a springboard. But right now, I think the landscape just isn't there for that particular guy. A couple more. Ivan asks, is Bakram still looking for an opponent? If not Josh Kelly, who else would make sense? I haven't heard anything about the Josh Kelly-Bakram fight. I do think Josh Kelly would be crazy not to take that fight. It's not going to be a huge payday going up against Bakram, but if you beat Bakram, all of a sudden you can turn to Matchroom and say, I want 7 figures to fight Boots Ennis. Or you can look at Fundora and say, I want 7 figures for a unification fight. I had been told a couple of weeks ago that negotiations were ongoing for a Bakram Josh Kelly fight. So I still think that's the fight that they're targeting. That's the mandatory challenger for Bakram right now.
Considering we only have 30 seconds left and our producers already wants to shut us down and kick us out of here, I'm not even going to say that name because I don't want to end on a bad note. So I'm glad we're finishing with that name. Say his name.
Bakram Mutsalayev.
Anyone that beats him gets knocked out by him.
All right, last one. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, who are apparently buddies now. There was a picture of them in Vegas standing face to face. Ryan Garcia saying, let's do it again in 2026. I know they've got a lot to figure out, but the question from Andrea is, if Ryan Garcia goes up against Haney, do you see the same outcome?
If they have a catch weight, yes. If they actually pick a weight division, if they fight at 147, Haney comes in rehydrated and strong, I think he can outbox Garcia. Garcia has way too many things going on in his life. I think he's not the same fighter he was. And like I mentioned years ago, one of the most talented, popular fighters that will never win a world championship.
I think Ryan needs at least one more fight before he even considers going up against Devin Haney. If Devin Haney beats Brian Norman, Devin Haney's back in the game. He's back in the mix in a big way. But Ryan, he needs some kind of interim fight, some fight where he looks good against to springboard back into Devin Haney.
Charge him overtime. He's over a minute.
At me? I was over by like 30 seconds. Why do you have to show people how the sausage is made?
Because you got greedy and wanted more and more and more like you always do. You're over budget, over time. Pay the man.
Who is greedier than you?
Not me. No, man, I'm a giver. Everyone knows that. I'm humble and I give. Look at how much money I gave in Las Vegas to everyone that was surrounding me at the roulette table. Everyone made money. From our boss to Lucy to Todd Grisham. Everyone made money except you.
Congratulations for taking people behind the curtain and also naming a bunch of names that nobody on YouTube actually knows.
It's all right, man. That's what I'm here for.